Another week of racing down and keeping things interesting in the points hunt in all three classes here. Welcome back to Not Another Moto Pod, hosted by Sam Fury. Episode 15, we're looking at round 13, Philadelphia. Of course, we had an East-West shootout, a really fun race. As I referenced, two really close, points battles now. It looks like Deegan may be running away in the West, but Davey sure is making things interesting. In the East, of course, we have two guys tied at the top for another week, and the third guy only 2 points behind. So really fun week looking forward. Kind of a boring 450 race, but, they can't all be bangers. But definitely keeping that points chase close as well. So glad to see it. Let's jump into 250s. Starting out, of course, we had a red flag early after the first start. Dexton Bennick went down, announced today that he does have a concussion and some broken bones in his back, but he is going to be okay on the road to recovery. But so after the red flag, we did have a restart. And what do you know, Cole Davies, he won winner of his last two races. He really looked to be the class of the field this week. He looked incredible coming in from fifth place, passing all the heavy hitters straight up, and just kind of running away with it. Deegan, of course, did get closer late. One thing I've noticed about Cole Davies is it does look like he struggles to pass the lappers at times. He's very precise with his lines, and it seems like if lappers kind of get in his way, that kind of causes him to struggle a bit. Maybe takes longer to get around them, than if he was riding a just straight his lines on the track, of course. But again, just an incredible ride by Cole Davies. Just unbelievable the way that he passed Deegan, Hammaker, and RJ straight up. And again, just rode away with it. He had a 4.5-second gap by the time Deegan got into second place. It was really awesome to watch. Just really unbelievable to see from the 17-year-old. He's approaching jet territory at this point, obviously. To stay sustainable over the next few years, where it's going to prove a lot. But, I mean, his rookie season has already proven out to be better than Jet's. We know Jet, of course, the reason I compare him to Jet is Jet statistically does have the greatest start to a career of any rider ever, only statistically speaking. But, I mean, Cole Davies is taking a run at it right now, so really cool to see. Second place, Hayden Deegan. Deegan, of course, does have the points, the points lead in the West. He does have about 17 up on Davies. But Deegan, as much as we think he's the best guy, I mean, he looks to be second fiddle to Davies right now. Luckily, he has a big points gap. These guys play cool, play like they're good friends, but we know Deegan. We know Deegan has got to be, eating at himself on the inside, seeing Davies win back-to-back like this, and just the way that he's done it. Deegan, of course, did get Davies late in the heat race, showing that he still has it, but, the one that counts is the one that Davies won. So, again, got to be kind of eating at Deegs here. Luckily, he's kind of, able to play the points, and take home this championship. Third place, RJ Hampshire. RJ just had a terrible start on the first start, got lucky with the red flag, and then just pulled an unbelievable hole shot in the second race. After the restart, I should say. Rode out front by himself for a while, looked pretty good, looked like he was going to hold off the pack. And then, of course, Davies came in just flying, made a beautiful pass by him. And then RJ made a bit of a mistake that allowed Deegan to get by with about 6 minutes left, I believe. But again, a really good ride for RJ. Closing the points gap, he is now tied for the points lead in the East Division. So really good for RJ to claw his way back. Especially thinking back to Tampa where he got 18th after he got hung up, and then was a lap down after that red flag restart. So really good for RJ. Fourth place, Seth Hammaker. I'm a bit surprised by this. I did think Seth Hammaker was going to kind of ride the hot hand that he's been, that he's had lately and kind of run away with this thing like he did in Indy. Off the initial start, it did look like that was going to happen. Davies had something for him, but Hammaker was still in the lead when Bennick went down. Not so fortunate off of the restart. But he's riding very well right now. He's still tied for the points lead, so this is going to be a barn burner between RJ, Tom, and Seth going down to the last few races here. They have 3 races left, so we're really interested to see what happens here. Fifth place, Joe Shimoda. I didn't see much of him, but he's been riding better as of late. Healing up from that broken finger, of course. He rode well last time we saw him, and got Tom with about 2 minutes left to get into fifth place. Really good ride for Joe Shimoda. Sixth place is Tom Vial. Vial kind of got lucky, to be here. He kind of raced up from the back. Didn't look great, but I mean, he had a bad crash in his heat race as well. Had to come in through the LCQ. What do you say about Vial? Unfortunate to lose the red plate, but he's only 2 points down. So restart next week and see what happens. Again, these guys have 3 weeks to go. So looking forward to seeing this battle again between RJ, Seth, and Vial. Seventh place, Garrett Marchbanks. Solid ride for Marchbanks. Obviously not, where he wants to be after finishing second last time we saw him, but solid ride nonetheless in a shootout. Eighth place, Max Voland. Voland bouncing back from a really rough race last week in the mud. Didn't see much of him on TV, but just a solid ride for him in eighth. Definitely look to see him better this year. I haven't seen much from him outside of maybe the Birmingham Triple Crown, where, of course, he did have 2 out of 3 good finishes there. Ninth place, Jordan Smith. Didn't see him the whole night, truthfully, but a good bounce back coming back from his injury. And then, of course, after the last time we saw him, just kind of all over the place in Seattle. I think he got ninth as well in Seattle, but he just was all over the place, all over the ground, left and right. So ninth, solid bounce back for Jordan. 10th place, Chance Hymas. A disappointing night for Hymas. Again, didn't see much of him on TV, but definitely wanted to see better from him after his win last week. Kind of thought that could kickstart something, but not gonna happen at this point. And unfortunately, bounces back to 14 in the points after closing it to 8 last week. 11th, Cody Schock. Schock had a good start. He must have gone down at some point. He was running in the 4.5 range early in the race. Of course, caused the crash in the first race with RJ in the first turn, but it was riding better in the second. The second start there. So not a great finish for Cody Schock. Definitely look to see better from him. He's definitely a faster guy. Definitely with 2 left. Denver and Salt Lake. Look to see Cody Schock bounce back. 12th place. This is a really unfortunate Juju Beaumer. Juju was third in the off of the first start. He was really far behind on the second start. He must have gone down. I saw him at 18th and at some point on timing and scoring. Didn't see anything at all after the red flag restart on Juju, but he did climb his way up to 12th, but a really, really, really rough way for him to bounce in a third place in the points hunt here. He's 26 back now. This might be, might be all but done, unfortunately, for Juju. 13th, Enzo Lopes. Solid ride for Enzo in the East-West shootout. Again, didn't see much of him on TV. It was a lot of battling up front, so I didn't see much of a lot of these guys, truthfully. But a good ride from Enzo. 14th, Nate Thrasher. Nate's had 2 rough weeks after getting the Triple Crown win in Birmingham. 14th, not where he wants to be. 15th, Cullen Park, an unfortunate finish after doing so well in the mud last week. 16th, Faulkner. I don't know what to say about Faulkner. At least he qualified this week, I guess. Man, he's just, I don't know if he's not gelling with the bike or if he just has not come back to full form. We definitely hope to see in the future, that he comes back. But just a rough year for Austin Faulkner all around, unfortunately. 17th place, Henry Miller, solid ride. 18th, Michael Mosman. Mosman has looked really bad in 2 East-West shootouts that we've had this year, finishing towards the end of the pack, so not good for Mosman. 19th, Hunter Yoder. 20th, Gavin Towers. 21st, Hardy Munoz. We did see come off the track with about 10 minutes left. I believe he did get hurt. And 22nd, Daxton Bennick. Again, of course, did not finish the race after going down and causing the red flag restart. As I kind of referenced with the points, RJ and Seth Hammaker are tied. Tom Vial is 2 points behind, and Chance Hymas is 14 points back. So we really look to see, with 3 races to go, New Jersey, Pittsburgh, and the Salt Lake City shootout at the end of the year, we look to see who's going to pull out of this. Initially, my thought was Seth Hammaker with how well he's been riding, but RJ showed me something. RJ's just got to stay off the ground. He did it early in the first start, so really just, you hope RJ can stay off the ground, and again, this can be a 3-man race to the end, but off of all-out speed, I would give it to Hammaker right now, but I guess we'll see. Vial, I don't know. I thought he was going to win one of these. I'm not seeming so sure at this point, but again, with 3 left, we'll see. In the West, again, Hayden Deegan now has a 17-point lead over Cole Davies and a 26-point lead over Juju Bomer. Juju's out of this thing, truthfully. Hayden can have, a really, really terrible race, and Juju's not going to pass him at this point. Cole Davies creeping to 17. Again, Hayden's obviously with only 2 races left. Hayden has all but wrapped this thing up, but I mean, if this thing gets within single digits going into the finale, and it's a showdown, and we've seen what Davies can do in the showdown, and Hayden hasn't looked his best, we'll see what happens. It could be really interesting to see when we get to Denver. We'll see what happens here, but I wonder if Davies can ride the hot hand here and kind of put a little bit of pressure on his teammate. It'd be really interesting going again into the Salt Lake City finale showdown. Switching over to 450s, coming into this week, Chase Sexton had to gain an average of 3 points a week on Cooper Webb to finish the season on top. He did that this week. The math says if he goes 5 for 5 to finish the year, that he will win the tiebreaker, on race wins. He's got one right now, so let's see what can happen. I still don't know if it happens. As far as championship, Chase would really have to lock in and not slip up at all. We know Cooper Webb is going to be right on his heels each week and is not going to give Chase any gimmies here. So will be really interesting to see how this thing goes. But as for now, Chase Sexton proved that he, again, is the fastest guy out there. We saw this in outdoors, with a few people got hurt and suddenly, Sexton was the best guy on the planet. That is who he is. He's just unfortunately dealing with a monster in Cooper Webb here. But let's see what happens. Chase Sexton rode well and went and got his first win of the end of the year that we needed. So like I said, let's see how it goes there. Second place, Cooper Webb right there. Again, I think he's just going to be nipping on Chase's heels, and he only needs 1 week to beat Chase to kind of put the nail in this thing. I don't see anybody finishing between these two, unless something crazy happens. These guys are just the class of the field, and, it's really time to, again, just kind of lock in here late. Both of these guys got pushed off on the start and had to kind of come through the pack, and they passed guys together. So it was really good by Webb to not let Chase get too far ahead of him, where he just completely ran away with this thing. Webb was able to kind of catch his flow and stay right by Chase, and get his way in a second place as he knows. Obviously, he knows the points and the way that they sit right now. So good ride by both of these guys. Third place, Ken Roxon. Man, Kenny's led so many laps this year. It's awesome. He led another 10 minutes in this race. He got into the lead pretty early. Barsha had a mishap after getting the whole shot there. So really good ride by Ken Roxon. Unfortunate that we know he's injured and probably doesn't have the full 20 minutes plus a lap in him. Because really be interested to see how Kenny would fare, if he was healthy right now in this championship. Fourth place, Malcolm Stewart. Another solid ride for Malcolm. He's been coming back on again lately. He had a bit of a rough start to the season, got the Tampa win, a lull for a couple races, and then it's been looking good lately. Obviously, last week with the mutter, we're not really going to look too deep into those results here, but solid ride for Mookie in fourth. Fifth place, Joey Savacci, the best that he's done all year. He said he needed a start several times this year, and he got the start, and he finished in fifth, so really good for him to hold off some of these other guys coming from behind. It's a really good finish for Joey to get that top five. Sixth place, Jay Coop. Cooper had a really rough start. He made a lot of passes early to get up to this sixth place, so we didn't see much of him on TV, but really good ride for Jay Coop. Seventh place, Dylan Ferrandis. Ferrandis also had a pretty rough start. I think he was back in 17th, 18th early in the race, so really good for him to get his way up to seventh. He's been looking really good lately. Eighth place, unfortunate for Aaron Plessinger. Plessinger in the heat race looked like he really had something for everybody today, and then he just got pushed out, him and McElrath. Off the start went down, and he had to come in from dead last, or second to last maybe, with McElrath out there. So an unfortunate result, but a really great ride for AP. Really be interested to see what he can do in these next 4 weeks. Maybe he can get in between Sexton and Webb, or take a win here. We'll see what happens. Ninth place, Benny Bloss. Really good ride for Benny. I didn't see much of him, but looked like he rode well. 10th place, Justin Hill. solid ride, kind of where he's been all year. 11th place, Mitchell Oldenburg. Again, didn't see much of him, but where he's been all year in this 11th spot. 12th, Shane Rackelrath. Shane's number 12. He's in 12th place basically every week. This is right where he belongs. Maybe this is his sweet spot. But again, a good ride from Shane to come from the back of after that unfortunate crash in the first turn with AP. 13th, Colt Nichols. Nichols is kind of bringing it around lately. 13th is a solid spot for him, with the way that the season started. 14th, Justin Barcia. I wonder if he went down again. I didn't see much of his progress through the pack. Of course, he did get the whole shot and said he was having a rear brake issue. So his rear brake either didn't engage or he missed it in the second or third turn, and he just went completely over the berm after having a huge hole shot. So unfortunate for Barcia there. But again, I don't know if he fell again, maybe coming back through the pack or something. It seems like Barcia would have made more progress. From 14th, he got up rather quickly. So I'm not really sure what happened there. 15th, Christian Craig, about where he's been all year. I know he's got to be frustrated at this point. 16th, Mitchell Harrison. Harrison was riding, I think, third for a while, third or fourth. So Harrison doesn't have the speed of these other guys. I wonder if he dropped back or if he did go down. But solid ride from Harrison nonetheless. But again, unfortunate to finish 16th after being up front so early. 17th, the return of Dean Wilson. Grandpa Earl is back. Solid ride. Said he got arm pump. He looked pretty feisty in the heat race, was holding off Dylan Ferrandis for a while for that 6-7 spot. So solid comeback ride from Dino. We know to expect more. But again, said he was dealing with some arm pump. Obviously hasn't raced in a while, so 17th. Not quite what we expected maybe. But a solid ride to get up in the 17th. 18th, Kyle Chisholm. Chisholm's had a couple of good weeks. 18th, kind of on the lower end of that, but that's about where we expect Kyle Chisholm at this point. So good ride for him. 19th, Kevin Morans. 20th, Grant Harlan. 21st, Freddie Noren. 22nd, Jeremy Hand. Didn't see much of these guys, much at all, but good on these guys for getting in the main. Solid for Harlan there in 20th. Looking again at the points, Cooper Webb now has a 12-point lead on Chase Sexton. Was 15 coming in. So you look at the math. If Chase, again, if he wins the next four, say Webb gets second in the next four, they would tie on points at the end of the year. But obviously Chase at that point would have the most race wins. I think they are tied at 3 apiece right now. I could be wrong. They might be 4 apiece. I haven't looked that far into the points, but again, theoretically, if Sexton would win the tiebreaker, in that instance, obviously it'll never work out that way. But the easiest path for Chase to win this title is just to go out and win. Something he's definitely capable of, especially when we go back to the West, to the Denver and Salt Lake rounds, where we know Cooper Webb is much better on the East round. So looking forward to see how things go this week in New Jersey and then next week in Pittsburgh to round off the series before we head back to those final 2 races. So really interesting things shaping up here. That's all I've got this week. If you want to follow us on X, Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, it would be a big help at Not Another Moto Pod. And thanks for listening.